Would you push someone into a train?
Voices.
That man right there is called Marcise Perselis, and he is the leading suspect currently right now in the recent attack that occurred in a 168th Street subway station where, again, allegedly, he pushed a 23-year-old woman into an oncoming A train, an attack that she did in fact survive. In fact, she hit the A train and ended up falling back onto the platform, did not end up on the track. Thankfully, she is okay, and he just said, according to the video that you just saw, that the reason why he decided to push this woman is due to the fact that the voices told him to do so. And unsurprisingly, Marquise has a long history of mental illnesses, a long history of previous arrests. Some of those arrests are violent, and yet he was turned back out onto the streets time and time again until he got into this instance right here where he nearly killed a woman. But unfortunately, fortunately for her, make no mistake about it, due to the fact that this will probably be regarded as a regular ordinary assault, he might be out already attacking somebody at the moment you're watching this video. And this is the insanity of New York State bail reform and the absolute madness of people talking about mental health as the thing that we need to address, because guess what? The standard is already a danger to yourself or others. He already presented himself as a danger to others, and yet he had been released time and time again. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that my friend Devin Tracy, his family lost their home in the California wildfires. He started a GoFundMe in order to help them get back on their feet. Link to that in the top of the description.
Well, John, that victim says that she was pushed out of nowhere on what was one of the worst days of her entire life. And police say witnesses helped them track down the man accused of pushing her. And once he was caught, that man making a startling on-camera admission.
So the local news starts this off with honestly a completely pointless statement about how the victim in this particular instance says that being pushed into an oncoming train is one of the worst days in her life. I want to know what is in competition for this. Again, the victim is 23 years old in this particular instance. And yeah, obviously it is very traumatic for somebody to randomly, that you never saw, as we're going to find out later, shove you into a train. Your whole life flashes before your eyes. You could die if you fall either between the carts or in front of the train. But again, New York City, New York State don't really care about the victim because we have to have bail reform, because Andrew Cuomo wanted to sign something that said he was good at criminal justice reform in order for him to run for president. And yes, make no mistake about it, that is the reason why we have bail reform, because of a guy's dead political ambitions.
Marcise Perselis in custody. He's the man police say pushed that woman into a moving A train around 9 a.m. Monday. Perselis later saying it wasn't right. Authorities say that woman hit the train and fell backwards onto the northbound platform at the 175th Street station. Sources say the 23-year-old suffered bruising to her face, hands, knees, and shoulders. Police report witnesses snapping photos, helping officers track Perselis to the 181st Street station.
So a couple of things. First and foremost, I said it was the 168th Street station. Apparently it's the 175th Street station. But yeah, the woman suffered serious bruising and injuries. She fell back onto the platform. And also the local news is weirdly trying to run cover for this individual, saying that he said it wasn't right, when in reality, in actuality, he actually said a lot of different things as reported to us by the New York Post. So let me give you the full extent of this guy's deranged thought pattern, because the local news is trying to kind of tamp it down, and I'm not really here for that. Now, this is from Marquise himself, according to police. Quote, "I pushed her into the train because I was high and I was mad," Perselis told the cops, according to the Manhattan District Attorney, Lauren Hatz. Quote, "I did it because I wanted to," he allegedly said. Now, of course, prosecutors put the man up for $150,000 bail, but who knows how this is going to work, especially considering that this is his third arrest in the New York City subway system in just over a week. Now, again, the local news segment about how he said, oh, it was the wrong thing to do, kind of rings a little bit hollow when you realize that he actually told the police that he was high and angry at the moment. Also, don't think I noticed that in the B-roll that they wanted to show of this particular station, somebody's jumping the turnstiles. As if the criminal problems in the city of New York aren't bad enough, we have another unrelated crime, somebody doing fare evasion, and guess guess what? The lack of the police cracking down on this, the lack of the disincentivization of this practice is leading to more and more people getting attacked. Again, see all the different various videos that I've done on how Will Bratton changed the subway system. I will link an article in the description so you can read about that, but it is very important for you guys to understand that these 3 arrests within just a week or in and around a week are not minor things, or at least not all of them are minor things, and obviously he shouldn't have been released back out onto the streets. But let's go over them so you can understand how this woman nearly died in the New York City subway due to the dereliction of duty of people at the prosecutor's office and, of course, New York State bail reform. Brazellus was busted on January 19th for entering a prohibited area of the Bergen Street subway station. Now you might say, Sean, that's a minor crime, that's a little baby crime, that's just trespassing, and unless you do that on January 6th, you don't deserve to serve years and years and years in prison. And I will say, you know what? Fair enough. I totally understand. I get where you're coming from. But this next crime that he was arrested, again, closer to the day that this attack happened, maybe it's a little bit more serious. Maybe something you would be concerned about. Now, of course, he was released, and just 4 days later, he was arrested again for allegedly grabbing a woman's butt as she stood next to her partner on a subway platform, according to prosecutors. Both cases, which included charges not eligible for bail, allowed Brazellus to remain free and escalate his subway deviance, culminating in the unprovoked attack at a Washington Heights station at around 9 a.m. on January 27th, according to prosecutors. So look, if you want to throw out the January 19th arrest, that's fine. We could toss that aside. Going into an unauthorized area, no big deal, nothing to talk about, nothing to see here. But then the man is arrested for grabbing a woman's butt. She is a witness to this. Also, her partner that was with her is also a witness to this, and he is released same day automatically because apparently sexually assaulting somebody in the subway station, perfectly fine. And wouldn't you know it, when you release somebody with a pattern of behavior who is committing crime after crime after crime in the New York City subway, God knows how many crimes he wasn't arrested for, he ends up attacking another woman just days later in the same station because, you know, there's no consequences for him doing so.
Brazellus, who's 26 years old and homeless, has had past run-ins with the law. Records showing at least 2 arrests, including one for sexual abuse.
Now, of course, witnesses were able to assist in tracking him down. They're currently asking right now in this moment for a high value bail. But as we saw, we have prosecutors in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office who are just itching for a way to give this guy a break. And again, I just want you to think about it. It is 9 a.m. in a Washington Heights station. This is not an unpopulated station. This is not a station where you won't expect to have a lot of commuters going into work. But at peak commuting time, this guy freely attacks a woman. She's just supposed to deal with that for the rest of her life as she lives and works in the city of New York or goes to school in the city of New York, and that is just considered an appropriate consequence because of this innocent Beba Angel Aladdin. And people talk about his mental illness, and I just want to ask, how is his mental illness served by just releasing him back onto the streets so he can use drugs, so he can get angry, so he can attack more and more people? If he would have killed this woman, his entire life would have been gone as well, life in prison, likely without the possibility of parole, and again, an innocent woman would have died. So you're not aiding the mentally ill, you're actually aiding and abetting the mentally ill in their crimes when you go soft on them.
To the station, police say 26-year-old Marquise Brazellus allegedly shoved the victim into the side of the train so hard her body bounced back and she fell down onto the platform. She was rushed to the hospital and we're told is in stable condition. Now, police arrested the suspect soon after. We spoke with riders here who tell us that they are constantly worried about their safety, wish there were more police officers, but understand they can't be everywhere. Here's what they had to say.
I think it should be 24 hours watch with police, nighttime, daytime, and morning time.
Especially like inside the train, not even like because there's more like stuff going on in the train.
Now look, the judge ultimately didn't set a bail for this particular suspect. She actually just remanded him into custody. And the reason why is because in addition to these crimes that he committed in the city of New York, again, all in a little bit over a week, he actually has a probation violation for another crime that he committed in the city of Philadelphia, another place with a woke Soros-funded district attorney that did not hold him accountable to the greatest extent possible. So he's violating probation, he has active warrants for his arrest, and yet we're just supposed to accept that he's in the New York City subway. Hey, he wants to sexually assault somebody? Sure, he has a lengthy criminal history that dates back to Philadelphia. He's on probation. He should be tossed right back in jail for violating that probation, but no big deal. I mean, come on. The guy is such an innocent baba angel. We've been enriched by having him move from Philadelphia and bringing his criminal ways from there to here. Don't you feel better about yourself? Doesn't that woman feel enriched when her face smacked right into an oncoming train and she nearly died?
The MTA's chief security officer in a statement calling the release of Brazellus after 2 arrests last week beyond comprehension and urging the criminal justice system to do more. Brazellus now faces charges of assault and reckless endangerment. A friend of that victim says at this point she is now doing okay, and this all happened about 12 hours before the governor's subway safety plan fully mobilized across the transit system, with 2 uniformed officers on all trains running between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. This happening just hours after that cutoff at 5 a.m.
But yeah, you have somebody at the MTA saying it defies all logic that this person was allowed to commit multiple crimes in the transit system. I guess he didn't even realize that he was on probation, had an active warrant for his arrest for crimes related to Philadelphia, which is just another absurdity on top of this. But you shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be shocked. You shouldn't be dumbfounded. Multiple different attacks in the transit system have all happened with repeat offenders with recent violent arrests that were released same day automatically due to bail reform. Either that or they got incredibly low bail also due to bail reform, because even when you can charge a dollar amount, the judge is heavily incentivized to use a low dollar amount so the person can get out, or due to a district attorney just refusing to do their damn job, which is what Alvin Bragg does, unless of course the case can help him politically. Then all of a sudden he remembers that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is not just an extension of the Public Defender's Office. So yeah, this woman could have died. Likely this guy will be released yet again. If he goes back to Philadelphia, they'll probably give him a gold medal because Larry Krasner feels so bad for this innocent Baba Angel Aladdin, innocent guy who just heard voices in his head, and we can't consider him a threat to society just because he's actively and has been an ongoing threat to society for a very long time. That would be evil white racism. We just can't have that. So yeah, this is where we're at in the city of New York. Yet another subway attack, yet another innocent person hurt, yet another time that this happens when the stations are supposed to be crowded, and all due to the same exact origin point, due to the same exact issue, which is bail reform, less is more, and all the different criminal justice reforms that were passed in 2020 by Andrew Cuomo, who of course was trying to run for president, and of course the subsequent ones that were added on post the Black Lives Matter riots. But of course, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think I'm going too hard on this repeat offender that we have yet to see the full extent of his criminal history? Or do you think that maybe we should hold repeat offenders accountable, and that just makes sense, and that's what I've been saying for years, and that's why you're watching this channel, because obviously you agree with that position. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness in the New York City subway. Till next time.